I'm back in the happiest place on the planet, which is the studio. And I tell you today, if you're a woman in business, if you have breath in your lungs, if you've ever done business, if you want to do business, if you want to elevate yourself to another level, if you're a hairdresser, if you have a friend who's a hairdresser, if you've ever got your hair done, or you've even said the word business, you need to listen to this woman to be able to see the growth that I've seen in her, not only in the course of her career, because we got the opportunity to work together very early on, but just in the last year. About a year ago, I got to spend some time in Arizona with her, see her convention. And when I walked in, I was like so blown away. I wasn't surprised because I expect this of her, but to see the impact that she's been able to have on individuals. And the coolest thing is she's building her business, not wrapping it around herself, but in making everyone else successful around her. The principles are so simple, but she's just applying them and getting a chance to be able to spend time with an absolute juggernaut like Terra Harvell. It'll blow your mind. She started Harper Ellis Hair Company, which if you own a salon and you're not using Harper Ellis Hair Company, I tell you, you're just flushing money down the toilet. If you're not utilizing her systems within the salon, your culture isn't functioning at the level that it should. And I tell you, it's amazing for me because what I've said in the past is that membership gives you privileges, but relationships grant you access. And we have access to Terra today not because of the business aspect of her or the mother aspect of her or all the incredible aspects, but just because she's a great friend. And so it's my honor and my pleasure to bring to you for the second time one of the baddest boss ladies on the planet, Terra Harvell. So why don't we get this party started?
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
What is the most country thing that you've done in the past week?
First of all, I can't wait to answer that because I do have a really good answer. But second of all, if I'm just having a bad day, I'm going to go back to that intro and just replay it over and over and over. So thank you so much. Oh my goodness.
Well, you're amazing, and nothing. Honestly, it's nothing that I say to hype up. I got to experience it, and I got to experience it from all sides. You know, as far as getting to meet you at such an early age and then to be able to watch you from a distance and then get to see it up close is just amazing. But get to the country part, because I think this part is important.
Yeah, I think everyone needs to know this is probably the most important part of this podcast. You know, my husband and I live on a 125 acre ranch that has at least 130 cattle. And this is new to us, okay? And the other day, I was just very upset because a mother had gotten separated from her baby. And my husband's telling me, hey, it will find its way back. That is the way that they operate. So I took it upon myself to go out, and I got a rope. I'm trying to put it around this cow, and I'm going to lead it to the baby. And it just didn't work out that way. I had to give up and decide that nature would run its course, and it would probably find its way back to its baby. So, you know, believe it or not, I do some country things here and there.
Okay. So you, for the people that are not watching, if you're listening, we love you on Apple. But if you're watching, you saw Terra not throw up the lasso, but she grabbed the rope and acted like she was going to put it over the top of the cow like a necklace. You have a beautiful necklace on, by the way, right now. Did you try and lasso this thing? Or did you try and put it on like that?
You know, there's one thing about me that unless I've built stats in that thing, I don't try it. So I have never lassoed any living thing or any non-living thing. So there's yes, you were correct. The necklace sort of application, it just didn't work out.
So you went out after this. Was the cow okay with you walking up to it?
Until I got decently close.
How
They're
close
pretty
is
tight.
decently close?
Oh, maybe like 2 foot away. Long enough to put the rope, and then we had to walk away.
Did you
I thought I
think,
was.
okay, if you put the rope, how big is this cow?
Oh, I don't know. A big mama cow. I
Like
don't.
how many pounds would you say?
Like, I don't know, 3,000 pounds. Is that large? I don't even know.
I don't
how
know
big
this
they
three.
are.
We're gonna fact check Terra on this. I, I
have
feel like I
no
need to
idea.
Google this right now. Let's go to the
How
stats
large
here.
this is a Black Angus
Okay.
mother cow.
So
They call
we're
this
going to do
heifer.
what we were talking about earlier, and we're going to talk about GEO and SEO too, and optimization. But I'm going to do this. Hold on. So let me go to the stats.
100? Yeah.
Can you tell me how much a mother cow weighs typically? Okay, you said 3,000 pounds.
Yeah, it's probably not that. That
You
seems
weren't.
large.
I mean, you weren't far. A dairy cow is 1,300 to 1,600 pounds, and beef cows are 1,000 to 1,400 pounds. So
yeah,
I mean, now if you were a baseball player, you would be in the Hall of Fame because that was 1/3 like you were 33% correct.
Yes, I'll take that.
You'll take
I
that.
will, but I was pretty far away.
If you're in the NBA and you hit 33% of the time, might not work out.
Yeah, I'd probably be on the bench. That'd be
Okay,
alright.
in the salon industry, if 33% of your clients got hair extensions, would you win?
Actually, yeah. If you had 33% of hair extension clients in your salon, your profitability would grow exponentially. So that's such a great question. But the target is actually minimally 55%. And so you'd be over halfway to your target if you were 33%. So yes.
Wow. So, but when you apply that in different areas, like to this cow situation, then you could be a Hall of Famer in the Major League Baseball.
NFL. Oh, yeah.
Okay, you NFL. Come on. In the NFL,
Major
if
League
you
Baseball.
completed 33% of your passes, do you think that you would stay on the team?
No,
No.
definitely not. No.
But how much would it change if a salon was doing 0 hair extensions and then they moved to 33% of their clientele? How much of a difference would that make for them?
So actually, I know this number. It also depends on what they're charging, but
Okay.
on average, extension installs or services have around a 65 to 70% margin. And so, it would grow their profitability by, that much, I guess, divided by how many extension clients and what their percentage is. But, it would definitely grow their margin because that's why we love extensions. Their profit margin is much higher.
What made you fall in love with numbers? Because this is not like some people say, I'm just not a numbers person, but it's because the numbers that they're dealing with aren't really connected to something that's important to them. But when did it become important to you?
Totally. So, I actually just told this story this last week because I had a classroom full of stylists, and actually that was this week. I don't even know what day it is. Anyway, I was telling them, I said, I took remedial math in college. I bombed the ACT. I think I made like a 12 or something on
What's
the
the
math part.
total score? Like you
don't
said, you got
know.
a 12. What
30,
can you get?
32? I think you can get like a
32?
30. Yeah.
So you got like 33%. What's up with 33% here?
That is so crazy. I don't know.
That maybe it's because they knew that you were going to try and not lasso, but necklace a cow.
Necklace, a cow. Yeah. It all goes back to that.
It does. It's connected.
Yeah.
So go with the ACT, the 12, all the stuff.
So, math is not my strong suit, I guess. I used to say that. That used to be the story that I would tell and also consider in my own mind. And when I was working at your salon, I was telling people this last week, you had a couple of different types of stylists. One, I know that I assisted, she was really into color. She did a lot of color. And then you had one that did a lot more extensions.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't like, it didn't take a genius for me to walk, one guest up to the front of the front desk and they checked out for, average of $350 maybe. And then I walked up the other person's clients and they were checking out for $2,000 and $3,000. And so I didn't feel like I had to have a 32 on my ACT to realize like that was the route I had to take inside the salon, because that's where the money's at. So, yeah.
How do those numbers translate? Like, are you in love with numbers in all aspects of your life? And where has it gotten you in trouble?
Yeah, I am now. And because I feel like, numbers, here's the thing. I think we always talk about this, the confidence aspect of life and business. And I really have grown to hate the whole fake it till you make it, even though that had got me by, the first few years of my career. And as I was growing and learning about this world and business and all of the things, but now numbers translates to confidence and stats for me. And so, if I'm good at the thing, obviously the numbers are going to be there. And so I think a lot of people are searching constantly, how do I get the confidence in that thing? How do I get the confidence even in leadership? Well, my confidence comes from my employee retention and, the numbers based off, because otherwise I'm just running off of emotion. And so I have fallen in love with numbers. Every single day I look at numbers and I love it.
Has there been times where they've got you in trouble?
Absolutely. As far as not looking at them, they've got me in trouble. Because I feel like, as I'm looking at numbers and, as a hairstylist, I think one of the number one things, and I know this is all business people, because the hair industry has so many correlating issues that every other business has, I've had to fall in love with the financial aspect and the numbers aspect. And that was not where I was confident in. And I had to kind of look in the mirror and go, are you willing to go out and learn what you're bad at in order to grow and scale? And, that's exactly what I had to do. And so, the only time that numbers has ever got me in trouble is when I didn't look at the numbers and I didn't understand what story those numbers were telling me. So, yeah.
How do you keep it in check too? Because now, like, seeing you, and doing what you're doing, which I want to compliment you. I cheer for you all the time. And it makes my heart sing. I brag about you all the time. I was just bragging about you to a friend of mine yesterday. But sometimes when you are able to, when you get to a point and you accomplish something, like my brother was talking to me, I was very frustrated at this time. And I was like, well, I just wish that people would apply more of the things that I'm talking to them about, right? And he said, you got to step back for a second because you've been in the game for a while. And so what's so simple to you is rocket science to them. And you've got to understand that. And he likened it. I didn't say this, but he likened it to, he said, if you were playing in the NFL and you were at the top of your game and then you went back to a youth football practice and you said, well, it's just this simple, just do this. You can't get frustrated at the kids for not applying every single thing. What keeps you in check and helps you to be able to continue to connect with people at the level that you do when you're flying at the levels that you are?
Yeah, that's such a great question. Because I think, that's also a battle that I've fought as I've grown in business. And, I always have to go back to like, I'm very convicted in how I help people, and especially hairstylists and salon owners, because, I once was a salon owner that had $8 profit. Like literally, there was $8 was the bottom number on my profit and loss, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why are we even doing this? So, I always have to go back to like, okay, why are you even teaching these concepts? And I think that's why, now my business we've launched a new consulting side of our company where we're helping salon owners, grow and scale, through processes and, great culture. And, with that, I think it's just, you got to remember where you came from. And I think that the minute you lose where you came from, and that's something that I've always taken from you, Kelly, is, no matter what conversation you're in, and it's almost like music to my ears when I turn on social media and you start the whole video with my pops told me, or my pops once said, and because that's where all of your foundation of to why you have gotten to where you are and why you're doing, and that's where it comes from. And so I think that a lot of times when I enter a room and I start talking about, even if I get to the point of I talk about the success that I'm at now, I always start with, hey, one time I picked up everything that I owned. I had $300 in my bank account, and I moved across the country to Las Vegas to work for this man that had this incredible vision, and he had success surrounding him. And that's, why I wanted to go there. And so I always have to go back to that. And I didn't know anything, back then. You took a chance on me, and that was incredible. But that's where I think people live, is they have to just get started and have someone like you who took a chance on me. So I always remember that.
So your event there in Arizona, tell me the name of the event.
The Legacy Summit.
Legacy Summit. So when you did the Legacy Summit, and I tell you, if you're a hairdresser out there, especially a salon owner, hairdresser, the Legacy Summit, you have to go to it. It was, and I've got a chance. I mean, I've traveled the world, and I've got a chance to be in, all different genres as far as like different brands, all those things. And I've been very fortunate in these areas. But when I went to this, it was special. It was, I mean, I tell you, you did not spare any detail. It was awesome, including the shoulder pads you had on too. They were amazing. It was awesome. And more rhinestones than I've ever seen in my entire life too. And I just want to compliment you on it. But
thank you.
Tell me about that Legacy Summit. And when people see it, they see the social part of it. They're like, oh, wow, I just need to create my own event and do my own event. Can you walk us through the realities of putting on an event and the things that you go through during it? Because I watched you, and I want to compliment you. When you and I were together backstage, you were very, very, very just like you were with me, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I could tell too, and I mean, you had so many things moving at that time. But you're a very real person. Can you tell the reality of starting and doing a summit at that level?
Yeah. I really appreciate you, all the compliments, and we decided to launch the Legacy Summit because just last year, we had spent the last 6 years building all of our intellectual property as far as like how salons operate and how, all the processes and everything that they can basically just take a business and on a silver platter and go implement it. And so this was kind of to kick off, that. And also too, I had a little bit of fear around large events. We'd had, larger events, but not quite anything like this. And there's so many mistakes. I could take you to the depth and just through the depths of those mistakes. But I know number one, we hired someone to like plan the event, right? Like that, she was the expert. And I remember, she charged us, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we were left with nothing. And so this was probably 3 to 4 months before this event even launched or was live, and we had spent so much money on this party planner or event planner that didn't do her job basically. And so we had to exit that relationship. And then we had an event at the Phoenician there in Scottsdale, and that's by far probably one of the most expensive venues. And so this event cost every bit of $700,000, close to $1 million. And so the thing is that shocked me. That number shocked me, but we also had to pivot and go, okay, if we're going to launch an event that costs this much, what are we selling in order to have an ROI at this event? And so we were sort of forced into launching this whole, consulting side of our business to where we're helping salon owners, kind of giving them more one-on-one time. Yeah. And it forced us into what we know now, which is what has recently scaled our business by a ton, is because of how many mistakes we made at that event. So I hate mistakes and I hate, spending money, but it's the same concept. I was listening to the owner of Poppy the other day. She's Allison Insworth. They just sold, to Pepsi for a couple $2 billion. And she was just talking about how the wrapper on their cans, cost them upwards of like $15 million one year. And it was just sort of wasted because she didn't understand the process. So, I think everyone, launching a big event is something all businesses need, most businesses need. But you're going to fail the first time, just like we did. But it was beautiful. And from the outside, you had no idea what a crazy reality it was behind the scenes.
Well, it was, I want to compliment you too, because in say, like I'm going, October 9th, I'm going to speak in Austin. And I absolutely love the company that I'm going to speak with or speak for there. But I tell you, in all of my years, and I've been in the speaking world for 30 years, and I've never been treated the way that I was treated there. And and walk me through this, because I've never, and if you're a keynote, if you do keynote speaking and you're listening to this right now, like if you ever get the opportunity to speak at a legacy summit, like, well, let me preface it this way. I didn't have to say anything when I walked on stage because of the way that you treated me leading up to it, and you set me up to win. And literally, I could have walked out there and just dropped a napkin and then just left, and everyone was there.
They would have applauded. Yes.
Was that an intentional thing? And how did you learn that part? Because that really, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, I think, number one, the way you were treated and the way the event went too. I meant to say this a while ago. My team, oh my goodness, like a lot of times we launched these things, and I get the glory because I'm the face of the business, and it's like my team planned the entire thing, and they organized it, and they just pushed me where I should go. So I can't take any credit other than just the overall strategy and what we were there to sell and talk about. And so but yeah, I mean, something that I've learned, and this is something that I probably learned more so from you, is, I remember back whenever we were working together and we would go around to Paul Mitchell schools, you would position your people on stage so well. And you would talk about all of us. And here's the thing, we were just young hairstylists who didn't have a pot to pee in. And we were just, trying our best to learn from the greatest in order to be the greatest. But you still would position us to be where everyone in that crowd would think that we were the greatest. And honestly, even on a lower scale, we've launched, we've done 5 years of events with just, smaller scale certification classes and education classes. And that's been something that's been very important to me, because you see the room react whenever you position people and they hear the trusted person at the front of the room talk about the other people. And what's so fun about this, that I think a lot of speakers and entrepreneurs and CEOs, they miss, it suddenly becomes not about you anymore. And there is so much peace that comes that when the room is not all about you. Like, who would want that? That sounds really miserable. It's like suddenly it's not, this is who you should pay attention to. And so honestly, this came from you. This is something that you have always done very, very well. But also too, like, you got to pay it forward. Like, I don't think there's any amount of success that happens when I see it all the time. Educators will stand on stage and they'll be like, act like they've come up with all of these great ideas, right? None of us came up with any of the ideas that we have in our head. We all, have learned through different people in different situations. And I think it's always very, very important to talk about who taught you what and what are the lessons, because it helps people connect why it's very important. Because if you made it all about you, I think that people would just stop trusting you, because they're like, you don't know everything, so.
Well, I've noticed this, and I didn't compliment you before we started, but I've complimented you too many times, so maybe we can, ease back on this stuff. But I've been noticing it with social too, and it's something that I admire and I see in you is, I would say probably 33% of your, I'm joking, 33% of your social is you, like, sharing somebody else's story. And when I say 33, it's almost 80% of it is just sharing someone else's story. And it's so powerful. It is so impactful, it's so powerful. And, being able to give other people a voice, I just think is amazing. So I want to give you that compliment. Here's the thing. Let's play I think they called it Undercover Millionaire at first, but that didn't make people as excited today, because like $1 million is like $10, today.
Yeah,
so
it is.
But help us with this. If I took everything away, we stripped away everything, and I dropped you in, I couldn't drop you in a smaller town than you live in now. But if I dropped you anywhere I wanted, and you needed to start a salon tomorrow, walk me through the process.
do I have the knowledge, or is that stripped away too?
No, you still have the knowledge.
Okay.
I won't give you 7,000 pairs of shoes, so you'll still only have 6,000 of them.
Okay, I love that. So, well, one more question. This is me being analytical. Do I have a brand at all? Like
Nothing.
no brand. Okay,
Nothing.
perfect.
No one knows you. You're Terra, who has a great idea to move back home because your boyfriend is the one.
Not the one, guys. He was not the one. Oh,
Okay. So we take away everything. You don't have a brand. You haven't done anything. You need to start a salon. What is like, take me through bare bones. What's the beginning stages and walk me through it?
yeah. So if I didn't have, all of that and the resources, money, I think that this is any business. I'll go even off just not just salons. I would literally make a list of what are the resources that you have yourself. Whether that's the knowledge, you've maybe built a process, you've maybe have a great idea or a great product. And then I would make a list of all the resources that you do not have. And I would just go find the people that has those resources. And I've built my entire business doing that. And I think people overcomplicate, it's always about your network, right? And I think that people think that the network is always the new shiny penny, the new influencer or the new business guru on social media. And they're like, I need to go connect with that person. No, your network is going to be the football coach that is now my CMO and my business partner, that was my client's husband, that had so much marketing knowledge, but he didn't have an opportunity within that. And so that's your network, is really your people that are on the ground level of helping you, or they don't even have to help you yet. And it's amazing too. Like, I just connected with this guy not long ago. He was he was driving for Amazon. He would drop off our packages, and one day he walks in and he just like sets a book on my desk that he wrote. And he was like, hey, I know you don't have time to chat with me, but I would love for you to read it. And he wrote an entire book. He owns barbershops. I had no idea. But he was like, I have all this knowledge. I would love for you to just look at the knowledge. I skimmed through it, whatever. And as I was skimming through it, I'm like, wow, this guy has so many assets that's not being utilized because he doesn't have a network for somebody to go explode his tools and what he does have. So anytime you're going to open a business, this is actually what we're doing now. Something I've built all the processes, right? I've built I have the brand, I have all of those things, but what I don't have anymore is time. I don't have any more time on my plate there. It is not plentiful anymore. And so now I am going out and I'm literally partnering with brand new salon owners, or they may have been a salon owner and they want to, take a different route because they have the time to be the owner operator while using all of our processes, and we're partnering up and just exploding the salon industry. And so it's exactly what I would do. I would not do it on your own. I would not start at ground level and try to build a brand. You know how hard it is to build a brand? You do know how hard it is to build a brand. It is very hard. And so, go partner with somebody that already has those things so you can just lock arms and go there 10 times faster. When people say that, we hear this a lot, but it's just so people look over it and it seems a little bit probably, touche or taboo at this point. Collaboration is really what people are doing at the top, and competition is what they're doing at the bottom, and that's so true. So
so I drop you into that town. How do you create? Give me the bare bones of it. How do you start that collaboration like immediately? So you're Terra. You happen to be licensed. You're a hairdresser. You go into the town. What do you do? Where do you seek out? What do you do?
Yeah, I think this is also where a lot of people go wrong, is they think that people just want to like listen to you, like, oh, I have an idea, and they care to like hear you out. It's like, I get this all the time. People are constantly like, hey, Tara, I've thought about it. I'm like, great, send me an email, but like, go be of value to someone for free. And I think that's how you get people to be inside of your network, that you're not always needing a return. If there's still so many resources and things that you need in order to get to where you want to go, you can't show up in a room and think that you have anything of value to anyone. You need to go find out how you can be of value to someone and not expect anything in return. That's the fastest way to build a network. So
What are the things that as you're looking and because this is great, because I know am I allowed to say the place that you were talking about
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
other day on the phone?
Hmm.
It was yesterday on the phone. You guys are doing a place out, partnering with a place out in Valencia,
Uh-huh.
um, which is a beautiful area, very close to LA. I mean, it's a hotbed. It's amazing. Um, what do you, as a person who's going to collaborate, and I want to touch on that collaboration as opposed to competition, but when you're
Yeah.
going to collaborate, what are some of the things that you're looking at? Like, I don't know if I ever did this with you, but early on in my career, when I would take kids with me, I called them kids because when I worked with them,
We
um,
were kids.
I would always look to a person's, not the label of their shoes, but I would look at their shoes and how they cared for them. I didn't care what the brand was. I cared
Hmm.
how they cared for them because they were the detail in the outfit, and I could tell a lot about a person just because of the detail part. What are you
Yeah.
looking for when you're collaborating with somebody?
Yeah, I love this. I think that I probably will have definitely, especially since you're, in my ecosystem, I'll have some of our potential partners probably listening to this. And I think it's a little more strategic than people think, right? But we do a couple of things on the surface level. I ask people that I'm interested in partnering with. I'm like, hey, send me your profit and loss statement and your balance sheet.
Okay.
And that's pretty obvious. I think a lot of people would do that, but I'm not really looking for them to like be profitable. I think people, when they send those things, they're like, think, oh, she's going to see if I'm profitable, if I'm, no, I'm looking at like, what have you done with the money that you have made? Right. Because if you're going to be financially irresponsible on your own business that you're by yourself doing, then you're probably definitely not going to do well, in a partnership. And so that's number one, that I look at their finances. I'm like, what's going on? How much in debt are you? Are you spending a bunch of money on, salon supplies? And I don't even know. And so, I'll go into that. And that's number one. But I think the second part is, I love what you said about like how they care for things. What I love that aspect, but I also look how irresponsible that they are and reckless in their doing, right? And that is so easy to spot on people if you will just pay attention. You can see, like, I had a partner, and I don't know that I hope that she listens to this, or I hope she doesn't. I can't remember, but or I don't know, but I can't remember exactly at what point that we just kind of we split ways, but because she was considering a partnership with me, but she was so reckless in everything that she was doing, and everything that she would, she would go back, she would learn something, and she would go back and just cause absolute chaos within her team, and from the one or two employees that she had. And it was constantly, she needed something from me. And then also, she would text me about a small pricing problem, right? And every little thing that went wrong, she wanted to send me a text. And finally we kind of had to cut that cord. And it was just like, because you're not going to be a great partner. If you don't have any drive in you to go figure out things on your own, you're not going to be a great partner. And so, yeah, being reckless, and then just super, super needy as far as, needing every little question answered. That is, you're not suited to own a business. That's when I think you should go work in someone else's incredible business, if that's the way that you operate.
Well,
So,
let's talk about that too, because I had this discussion yesterday with a friend, and um, this generation, which generally when you start with that, then I'm the old guy on the lawn, saying, or get off my lawn. I'm the guy on the porch. Um, but a lot of what's sold to us today through media is follow your passion, follow your heart, do all those things. But every person that I see that's successful at what they do and it's sustainable,
mhm.
those people weren't so much passionate about what they did. They became passionate and loved it, and then
Yeah.
they got to do what they were passionate about. And the reason why say this is because people would ask me all the time, "Do you just love hair?" And I was like, "I fell in love with it."
Yeah.
Like, so how do you view that part of it when people say you should follow your heart, you should just follow your passion? Is that something that you subscribe to?
I don't subscribe to that. Actually, I think the number one thing, and I'll use the hair industry as an example because that's really easy right now. But like, y- I get really, really annoyed with hairstylists that are like, I just love making people feel beautiful. And it's because they feel like they're trained. That's what they're supposed to say, right? And but then if you look at their lives and you just hear them speak, they're very, very empty, right? And they're very, very, they're still maybe they feel broke or they feel not financially stable and they feel like they've not created or impacted. And so I think that and that's in any industry, like you have to get out of this whole I just love to, lay concrete because I just love, that sidewalk over there. Like that's not true at all. But what you would probably love is if you figured out how to operate your business to where you could become financially free and actually change the things that you do care about, which is your family and how you provide. And, because no one, at the end of the day, no hairstylist is laying down their head at night going, man, I just love that foil I did today. Like that is just not a thing. And so I just don't subscribe to this whole like follow your passion, because your passion truly will be how your own life is impacted and then how you can impact other people. And you can do that through you can do it through, a roofing business, or you can do it through all of these other things. But even entrepreneurs that own, salons or a roofing business or HVAC or construction, whatever it is, like there's a lot of those people that are not fulfilled, that are saying that roofing is their passion, but they're not fulfilled because they don't have a profitable business. They've never been able to impact their own life and they can't impact other people.
So there, it's great too, because being able to spend time with you and watching, you see things from a different lens now, right? And not that everyone can see it from that lens because they haven't had your experiences, but when Brooke and I we were talking about it, and I said that it's 6 simple steps in a salon. I think it's 6. Number 1, connect with the guest. Number 2, ask them their desired results. Number 3, assess what they have and is their desires in line with that. Give your professional recommendation, execute it, and ask them to come back and see you again. It's very, very simple, although not executed at all, ever, very seldomly, right? And especially just in that order, because people get it out of order. When you look at it and you say, let's look at the profitability of a salon. When we look at it like bang, 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 for a salon that is functioning right now, any salon USA out there that, no matter what the square footage is, and we agree on square footage in salons, so I'm going to and we'll talk about that. Give me the breakdown of if a person wasn't emotional, that their dad did hug them enough and they were okay, and they just did bing, 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 salon awesome, what would that be?
You would find that you're very passionate if you would lose the emotion. And I think that, how we've created the structure, it's called Strata Salon Structure. And it is primarily based around helping people become not emotional. Like even the emotional part of business, how you respond to constructive criticism, all of these things, we've put it in a spreadsheet. So, and we attach a number to it and we grade them so they can take the emotion out of it. It's just like, how good are you from scale of 1 to 5, right? We don't have to cry about how your nose flares whenever, your coach comes in and says, you need to foil better, And so that's what we do inside of salons is we try to take the emotion out of it. And it is the wildest thing how, we've coached now, hundreds of salon owners to do this and then, impacted their stylists, which turns into the thousands. And it is wild how many people fall in love with their business and their job when it's just a score, right? And it's just a stat on the board. And that, truly, like, we just can't be emotional about it. That is just not a way to go to sleep at night. You won't go to sleep at night. I've been there.
So if you looked at it and I said, every salon needs to have a front desk, every salon needs to have a chair, every salon needs to have a shampoo bowl, and every salon needs to maybe have a color bar, which not everyone does. But I said those kind of things. If you were going to make a profitable salon, I got this salon, I'm a salon owner, I got this, and you and I got onto an elevator and you had 3 floors to be able to do it, what would be the 4 or 5 things that you would say, you need this, you need this, you need this, you need this, and then I'm off on the 3rd floor, have a great day?
Yeah. So I love this question because I think it's very simple. You need, are you there?
I'm here.
My computer paused. I think it's very simple. When you have a brand new business, especially, but I always go back to, a business that is $3 million and less. It's sort of the benchmark that we've, feel like we've arrived. It's just sales and marketing. And so I think a lot of salons, I was just telling a room full of them last week, I said, listen, you can talk about competencies and training processes and what your front desk is doing and ads and all of these things. But if you don't have clients in the chair that's actually, doing the thing that pays the business money, then you don't have a business. And so truthfully, if I was a salon owner and I was starting from scratch, I would go figure out how to get the most extension clients inside of the salon. And this is how I break it down. The recent data that's come out is 30% of women either already have a form of hair extensions or they need a form of hair extensions because of hair loss. And so with that stat, if the annual value of an extension client is, $4,800 on average, if I want to make $1 million, then I would just take that and divide it by 4,800, and I need 208 extension clients. And there you have it. You have $1 million salon. And when you have that problem, then you can go implement all these other systems. And so I think reverse engineering, people overcomplicate because they're like, oh my gosh, I've got to post on social media. No one cares about your social media posts. You need to go get a client in the chair.
What's the difference there? Because that's the thought process is if I post well, I'll get clients. Yeah. But what I've watched happen, and I've watched this happen with so many people is, and correct me if I'm wrong, because again, maybe I'm just the old guy. Mm-hmm. If you go out to a bar of all married women and you happen to score one of those married women and go home with her, and she leaves her husband for you, most likely there's going to come a time where your new wife is going to be at a bar and end up going home with someone else. Mm-hmm. If you market to people in a arena where they're constantly looking for the newest, hottest thing, they're going to leave you too.
Yep.
So where does a person go get guests?
Yeah, so I have a different bit of a spin on that. I think, and I hate that it's about married people because there's some moral things I on that. But, if I was in a bar and I had a room full of married people, I would probably go pick the one I wanted and figure out how to solve their problems. Because, they're probably not going to walk back into another bar if I'm actually solving all of their problems. And so I think that's where, and the same if I have an arena full of people that I need to sell to, if I don't actually solve the problem or help them understand what their problem is, then they're probably going to, continue on to the next business guru and sign up with them. And that's what happens in this industry all the time. You've got hairstylists. They're like, I'm in 4 different programs. I'm like, oh my Lanta, go implement something that you've learned that's your problem. And I think business people do that in general, but, you have to go figure out, we've recently done this. So just to, point blank kind of answer that question, we have recently gone and asked it's a glorified reward system. All current extension clients, go find us 3 extension clients and we will give you XYZ, whether that's, a free hair, whatever it is. It's through the people that you have. And it's not necessarily, if you're starting from zero, you're going to have to build a brand and some authority where people even want to come into your door, but that's not your focus. Go out, have a conversation with someone, solve their problems. And those kind of people will never leave. So
can a person build a business today without social media?
I think so. I think that people would be shocked that I said that, but I think there's two aspects of that. I think that you can put some effort into social media and have a backboard where people are, they need to go search if you're legitimate. But I also think that if you are truly sticking your neck out and figuring out how you can solve people's problems, they don't really care what social media says. I find all of my, especially with Strata Salon Systems, we find most of those leads through just genuine conversations and me going to other events and networking and saying, hey, this is what I do. And they're like, oh, wow, I've been looking for that. And then asking the right questions of okay, what are your problems? Okay, well, this is how I can solve them. And it's not even a thing that I have to hard sell. It's more of they're like, oh my gosh, what's your number? How can I contact you? Because if you really have the solution. So you have to figure out what are the benefits to what you do. And that's how you get people in your door. So
what salon should not use Harper Ellis Hair Company?
Anyone that isn't interested in doing a service that is high ticket or high margin. So none.
So who would not be a good fit for Strata Salon Systems?
I think salon owners, actually, just point blank, I know this ruffles feathers a little bit, but salon owners that are just not, they don't have the courage to go and change anything with their structure. I hear this all the time. Salon owners are not real leaders. They just have an LLC and they pay a rent, right? And they don't have any authority within their team to go in and say, hey guys, because you guys trust me, I'm making some changes in the business and this is going to only benefit your career. And a lot of salon owners and business owners in general has never took the time to build that rapport with their team. And so they have no power to go in and change anything and change the business for the better. And so those kind of salon owners, unless you're willing to learn leadership, which is something that, we really focus on and teach people, but unless you're willing to go there and have hard conversations, then those are the people that are not a good fit.
I saw your team, and I want to compliment your whole entire team. It's for the life of me. What's your guy? Your guy. What's his name? What's
Creighton.
I want Creighton to understand. Creighton, if you're listening and if you're in the place, you're an absolute rock star, and not a rock star from the part of, because most people want to be a rock star, but they aren't willing to carry the equipment in. This guy was willing to do all the behind the scenes. When you weren't there, I was having conversations with him. When you weren't there, I was watching him when he didn't know I was watching him. This guy is the real deal. And Creighton, and I'm sorry that I didn't remember right off the bat. I was like this whole 45 minutes. I haven't been actually paying attention to you at all, Terra. I've just been thinking about Creighton. But help me to understand, like, Creighton is willing to take a bullet. And I saw it at the Legacy Summit. He's willing to take a bullet for the mission, for the cause. What are the traits in leadership that give you the permission or give you the permission to lead people in that way?
Yeah. I think, people think that leadership and influence comes like overnight. And I think that's the biggest mistake here, is because, Creighton, year 2 or year 1 into working with me, I don't know that he felt the way that he feels today, but I've been able to prove that, over and over, that I have his best interest and I will make sure that he wins at all causes. So I think that's, I don't want to make it fluffy, but also Creighton's incredible, and Creighton also has a great attitude and understands what success looks like, but only because I've shown him, And I think that's a lot of it too, is like, you have to go build your rapport. You don't just like get trust. Trust is not a gift that people just hand out like a prize at Disney World. Like, it's just not a thing. And so in order to get people to trust you, you have to build that stat with them. And I think that's the number one thing. And then it gets easy, because then what that does is it becomes momentum, right? And now I had a new business partner of ours the other day. She signed an operating agreement, and did she love everything in the agreement? I doubt it. But she literally made the comment. She's like, you know what? I see your team. They would blindfold themselves and follow you into a room, and that speaks volumes. And so now, it is faster for me to build rapport with other people, just because they can see but that's why your first few employees and as you're building a team, they matter the most, and how you're helping them win. And I think that's how you get there. So
how do you keep that in check as you go along? And I know we're close. How do you keep that in check? Because a lot of times, and I found this, where like this is where I failed a ton, is I would produce the stats, continue to be able to do that. And then I actually relied on stats too heavily, and I lost the person.
Yep. I think that, and because I've also messed up there completely, and I've learned from that. And the one thing that I continue to do, and I will spend my last second doing this. Like, if I have no time on my plate, I still make this a number one priority
Mm-hmm.
is I have two things that I'm constantly telling my team. And if my team, they'll listen to this for sure, but they already know exactly what I'm about to say because these are two things that I repeat all the time. I say, number one, I have a confidence meter in every single person. And when you get below 80% is usually when I cut people off. Like if I cannot gain confidence in you in that top 20%, then it's going to be very hard for us to have a relationship, because my vow to my team is that you won't lose the confidence in me less than 90%. And then the other thing that I say all the time is, success and mentorship and leadership, you have to be able to be coached and you have to be coachable, or you have to be able to coach and you have to be coachable. And so when I feel that someone doesn't meet me in the middle, I can only do so much. I can build a stat. I can, protect you. I can help you win. I can give you more opportunity. But if you don't meet me, as far as I can go, then the relationship is broken. And so those two things are two things that I'm constantly telling my team. And so they always have it in their head. If I don't meet Terra, and I lost a stylist a couple of weeks ago. She moved on. Love her so much. It was one of the cleanest exits that I've ever had in my entire career. And it was because of the leader that I'd become. It was great. It was beautiful. I love this girl. I was just like, oh my gosh, I admire you but like, she just didn't. And when she exited, that was the thing that she said. She said, Tara, I can't meet you in your middle anymore. Okay. And, so I know that when that doesn't happen, that you lose interest in people. And so it's going to I need to move on. I'm like, I agree with you. I think that's wonderful. There's no hard feelings. You and I have different lives, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're meant for different things, just like I'm meant for different things. And so those two things I'm constantly talking on. So.
Well, the couple different ways that a person can work with you. Number one, and this is what I've been saying to, salon owners that I come in contact with, is if you're not using Harper Ellis Hair Company, you're leaving money on the table. And not only that, you're not only leaving it on the table, but you're flushing money down the toilet and you're stealing from your family. That's, I mean, as real as it can get, right? Yep. And then people having now, which I think is so awesome, not only the ability to be able to work with you on the consulting side, but also the partnering side. Mm-hmm. What would you say to, if we had a room full of every salon owner in the country, I bring you out, you got 45 seconds. What do you say to every one of them?
I think if there could be a world where we really could take the ego out of it, and could you imagine if 150 salon owners were on the same page, they were aligned, and they were all rooting for the same thing? Could you imagine how powerful that would be? You can think about any of the most powerful organizations in the world. Think about how many people are involved and how many people are I guess rooting for the same thing and wanting the same vision to happen. And so I think that our industry and a lot of industries, we waste a lot of time trying to do it on our own. And that's truly I don't care if we change the name. That's why Harper Ellis says I have my name in it, by the way. It's kind of random. Harper is a name of a child of my ex-business partner, and Ellis is my mom's maiden name. I would change it. I would change it to, pen and lip gloss, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what name's on the board, but if we were all on the wall, if we were all rooting for the same vision and could take the ego out of it, people would win so much faster. And I don't really mean win like, yay, we got a new client in the door. I'm talking about like generational wealth, and where this industry really does set people up for generational poverty, because they're just in a hamster wheel over and over, and they fail. 98% of salons actually fail. And there's a reason for that. It's not just because, it's because they're not doing it correctly and they don't have enough people on the same team. So
what do you wish that now you have a different vision, right? So when it's wild because anytime you climb a mountain, you look back down, you're able to see things a lot clearer. What do you see clear now that was very fuzzy early on?
Yeah, how to get to the target. I think a lot of us, we overcomplicate the target. Number one, we don't even know what the target is, because that's kind of hard to figure out. I mean, people are like, what am I even trying to do? Who am I? It's just wild. And so, if you have to figure out where it is that you're going, what you're trying to accomplish, and then just reverse engineering it, that's the one thing that I feel like has been my superpower. Okay, what's the target? Now, how do we just get there? And I've moved so much faster since I've, figured that out. So.
So you know why I started the podcast. My two kids, Maddox and McKenna. What advice do you have for Maddox and McKenna? And if you could use both their names, it would be awesome.
Yes. Maddox and McKenna, you asked me this, Kelly, last time on this podcast, and I got off and I was very upset. Listen to your dad. That is my advice. Listen to everything that he says, because he is a wise man. And, Kelly is one of the reasons that I'm able to sit in this very expensive, beautiful office with a team of my own, because of the lessons that you were able to teach me. So I appreciate it so much.
Terra, you're incredible. And I know you're a very efficiently busy woman. That's why I love it, because it's not just just busyness, but you're effective in all that you do. And I tell you, if you're out there and you're in the salon industry, a couple different ways. Number one, Harper Ellis Hair Company, every single salon, you should be working with that, if not having the consulting, and if not moving to the next level. The trifecta would be the holy grail: to be partnered with you, to be coached in the consulting part, and to be carrying Harper Ellis Hair Company. I just think would be amazing. It blows my mind. I'm so excited for you. I'm cheering for you always. And I just thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're incredible. So I know you got to roll. So if you can, we're gonna run a commercial, and then if you could stick on for 1 second, it would be great.
I'm great. I'm great on time. No problem.
Okay. Terra, you're officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because